So, hello and welcome to the Chronic Pain Club talk show on Twitch, which we stream on Sunday evenings. I'm delighted to be joined by Jarrah Ali, who's a psoriasis advocate and fellow IFBA ambassador from Pakistan. Jarrah, how are you?
I'm great, Joel. Thanks for asking, and
Brilliant.
thanks for arranging this wonderful session.
Well, thank you for joining us. I don't know what sort of time it is where you are. Hopefully, this isn't too inconvenient for you on a Sunday evening, my time.
It's around 12 a.m.
What time is it? Sorry,
12 a.m.
12 a.m. Okay. What? As in midnight?
About to.
Oh, I feel terrible. I had no idea.
No,
Sorry.
no worries, no worries. I'm all comfortable.
So, if you're watching this live on Twitch, give a big warm welcome to Jarrah in chat since they're joining us just after midnight. Thank you for accommodating. So yeah, we didn't get to have a proper catch up on World Psoriasis Day back in October, because of various things that were going on that day. So for anybody that didn't catch that, do you want to just sort of reintroduce yourself, let people know who you are and how we know each other, etc.?
So, Joel, I am a 25-year-old guy from Pakistan. Basically, I live in a very remote and dormant area from where I have migrated to metropolitan city for my higher education. And currently, I am practicing law as my profession. I am advocate of psoriasis and advocate for human rights also. So I came to know you guys when I joined International Federation of Psoriatic Disease Association, and it's really a great experience to learn with you guys. And it was around 2014 when I was diagnosed with psoriasis. So since then, we are carrying it with ourselves proudly.
So you actually got psoriasis diagnosed quite young, which is something we don't hear so much on the channel. So what was that experience like? Because what would you have been sort of teenage age?
Mm, uh, Joel, to be very honest and to be very frank, uh, I felt an spot on my knee. It was around February of 2014, and it came on my one knee, and the after a couple of days, it came on my second knee. It came on my elbows. I as I discussed earlier, I live in a dormant area, which is not a medically aware city. So I was thinking, I was also a pre-medical student at that time, and so I was myself. I was feeling there that it might be some fungal or scabies type thing, and one of the medical practitioner also referred me to use the creams which use the medicines which we often patient of scabies use. So it was not diagnosed when it came. So after 2 months I went to a metropolitan city which is very progressed in medical science. So one doctor diagnosed psoriasis, and he said in Urdu, which is our national language, he said it won't leave you until your grave. And to be very honest, I thought that life is end. I was very disappointed, and I thought that I have no purpose to live. I am carrying the disease which will last till my grave. So how would I survive with these things? My everything was at stake. This was the mm, very honest. This was very honest feeling. The I still remember the day. It was around 1 p.m. and I still remember that day. I was with my father at the hospital, and it was very terrible when I was diagnosed, and when I didn't know, didn't know any people already suffering from psoriasis. So it was a very a big what should I say? It was like a very big bad news for me. But to be straightforward and to be more practical in life, I I developed it in myself. I adopted it. Now like I have spectacles on my face, like I eat, I breathe, I have psoriasis. This is the normal thing in my life, and I have adopted this.
And like it's a hard diagnosis to get your head around anyway, but being delivered in that sort of very definite way, looking back, did you find that sort of helped you come to terms with it, or would you have liked some sort of hope that it was manageable? Because it's all well and good saying you've got it until the grave, but it can be managed, can't it? So, did you have any sense of hope when you had that sort of that way of delivering the news?
Joel, the event I became very emotional. So I discussed everything. This is the story of back in 2014 when I was recently diagnosed with and I was quite young at that age. So I was not mentally mature at the time. So the basic thing which I suffered, I told you. But with the pace of time, I started feeling it. That it is manageable. Now, if someone comes up to me and says that I am recently diagnosed with psoriasis, the very first thing that I would recommend him or her that there is only one cure of psoriasis. That is your personal attitude with psoriasis, your personal adaptability, and your mental orientation towards psoriasis. If you manage your stress, you can competently, you can fight it strongly, firmly. So this is the way I think. In my opinion, I might be wrong. I'm a human and a subject to error, so I might be wrong. But in my very personal opinion, I think this is the tool in which with which we can manage psoriasis.
And what sort of steps, or was there anything particular that helped you sort of give you that hope that it could be managed? Because clearly you had a very sort of blunt diagnosis there. Was there any sort of like follow-up care that gave you that impression that it could be managed, or was it your support network or local groups or anything like that that helped you sort of change that sort of
And
way of dealing with it?
so the very first thing, my family was very supportive. My mother, my brothers, my cousins, even my uncles, aunts, they were all very supportive. And now I live in a hostel type. We friends have all together bought a flat in which we co-share our rooms. My circle is very supportive. I have two circles in my friendship, so they are very supportive. They don't even ask my flares. They don't stare at my sports, and they don't ask me weird questions. And they don't. They know this. It won't be. This is not contingent.
And and
They know
and
this.
and that was
As
a
well,
sorry, you carry on. Carry on.
yes, yes, you carry on.
I was going to say the you say about the contagious thing. It was something that came up a lot in our conversations with other guests on World Psoriasis Day, and how like culturally around the world there seemed to be a lot of taboo around it being people were cursed or it was contagious. Or did you experience any of that in your part of the world? Like, is that a common thing with psoriasis where you are?
Hmm, I want to share a little event with you. It was I had a hearing at my of my client. It was a child custody case in the district court, so I was appearing on behalf of my client. I was very rushed to my work, so I forgot to catch my pen. I forgot my pen in my office, so I went to the court, and I was like, yeah, borrowing a pen from the clerk. Okay, so when I borrow when I borrowed the pen, he saw my stairs. Oh, sorry, he saw my spots on my skin. He said that you have any allergy. So I I said him this is a skin condition, so it won't be spreaded to you. And he was very harsh in. talking to me, as I was being a court officer and I was listening to him, and he was very harsh and he was very pathetic, and he was saying that shouldn't you care about that if you have an allergy and you shouldn't be taking other things, any other pain. So it was very heart wrenching for me. So this is the that was the point when I started that the most required thing, the most essential thing needed is the awareness, which people should know that this is not contagious. We are same human like you.
Yeah,
So
we've focused on psoriasis a lot on this channel for the last sort of month or two, and that whole people, the stigma, people thinking it's contagious, some cultures thinking it's because you're cursed or did something terrible in your life. It's been really shocking here and how prevalent that experience is. Wherever people are in the world. I'm sorry you had that experience too. The next thing I want to ask you about is that is the advocating side of it. So what sort of got you into that? Because obviously you've lived with, as you say, I think since 2014, but you're still quite a young person, and most of us find advocacy later on. Like I went really out of my way to hide my psoriasis when I was younger. So what brought you to advocacy, and also sort of quite commendably at such a young age as well?
so Joel, I as far as I have understood your question, it's around 1 year that I have completely associated with the activism towards leaning towards psoriasis. And before 1 year, like in 2020 or in the COVID era, I was I I was personally very depressed about psoriasis, and I was very worried. So the thing that came in my mind is some sort of mysticism and spirituality, in which this theory says that your mind is a different and your body is different. I might sound funny here, but it's a theory. So I thought that this is the condition of your body, and if you play your mind well, if you kick the football in right way, you can fight with it.
And was there like a particular turning point that made you go from, dealing with your own situation and your own condition to wanting to advocate and campaign on behalf of others? Was there sort of like a moment that sparked that, or did you just find yourself naturally advocating and campaigning?
I was naturally associated towards helping the underprivileged classes when I was quite young in my school. What like around 2009, 2000. I was around.
Mhm.
When I said you that our area is very dormant. When it rained very harsh, I used to cry for the people who don't have homes. I was very sensitive kid. I used to think. I used to ask my mom that why don't the state gives all schools and all government buildings to the poor who do not have a home in the flood time or in the rain time. So these things might not be relevant here, but I just want to be. These words are coming out of my heart, so
Mhm.
that's why I'm discussing with you, and I assume you guys as my family.
And
So
it's empowering
Joel,
as well, isn't it? It's empowering when you
uh,
can do things beyond your own experience to help people.
yeah. So Joel, the this thing was very naturally associated, but as I said you, as I discussed with you that the court matter and the pen thing, you got it. This was the turning point of my advocacy towards psoriasis awareness.
Mhm. Thanks for sharing, and maybe that's a personality trait because I was always told I was a sensitive kid as well. So, and I was always worried more about other people than my own situation. So how have you found advocating as a male in between? particular because there isn't many of us out there, especially if an Instagram or something was to go by, and we certainly really struggle to find male guests, men to interview on this channel for that very reason. So, what has your experience been like? Have you found that sort of like quite sort of like liberating? Have you found challenges being a man talking about your experiences with psoriasis, or does that not really apply where you are?
The coincident thing is in this situation is that as yesterday was the International Men's Day.
Hmm?
Okay, so people really don't appreciate the men's effort. If a lady if a lady is a psoriasis patient, she's talking about her conditions, then she might get much awareness in my society. I'm not talking all over the world, in my society particularly. But being a man uh, uh, shows that a man needs to be unnecessarily needs to be strong. They are pretend to be have no emotions. They are pretend to be hard. So these things, being a man, are that I get very less ears to hear me. This is the challenge I feel.
Yeah, and the reason I ask that question is because I've had obviously, like I say, from a social media point of view, it's majority females, and like my own following is 80% females because I think
Mm.
people want to have that conversation and maybe more open to it. But from a psoriasis point of view, that's definitely been my experience in the UK, and that it's seen as men shouldn't need to worry about their skin or how it appears as much, but it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if you're male or female. If you have rashes that are visible, like I have no hair, so when I get rashes on my head, you're very conscious of that. Um, but I find it's very much a battle as a man trying to get across that it bothers me how I look as well as it would, the opposite sex. So that's the reason I asked that question to see if you had a similar experience or if it was a cultural thing.
Yes, I feel often these things when I wear shorts or I go into the pool. These things I feel. The people say that you are not a woman, so why you think much about your skin condition or your skin appearance? So I want to tell them that this is not about the appearance. There are very many things we are facing, and I can't in our language we say that जिस पे गुजरी है वही जानता है. That means the one who bears is the one who feels.
Very good line. And it's funny you should say that because I literally I did a talk in Europe earlier in the summer, and I said to them it really doesn't matter where the rash is. If I know it's there, I know it's there, and therefore it affects my confidence. So it could be in a place that you can cover up, but just walking out of the door, you're still carrying the weight of knowing that that exists. And there probably isn't enough of that talked about how it makes you feel, whether it's visible to the outside world or not. So yeah, thank you for raising similar themes because I think it does need to be talked about more. Um, what's sort of next for your advocacy? Like, obviously, we're both IFPRA ambassadors, so I know we're aware of each other's sort of campaigns and projects. What's sort of like on the radar for Girard over the next year, in terms of psoriasis awareness? Do you have anything sort of coming up?
Uh, the thing that I was thinking about, I also wanted to share my thought with you people and get your opinions to make it more productive. I am thinking that this Zoom session or the Teams meeting is not creating more awareness to a rural area. So I think I should arrange some physical sessions in my village and in dermatology centers and allergy centers to let everyone know, and let's spread the word that it is not contagious, it is not curable, but it is controllable, and you can control it to the maximized extent. You shouldn't be fear. You shouldn't be afraid of that. And if you understand these things, you are proud and you are a very stronger psoriasis warrior.
That sounds like a
These are the
great
things
miss.
I I want to make a platform where the researchers, medical experts, psychiatrists, psychology experts, and the patients can share their thoughts and ask their question without any time limits, without any consultation charges. And this is the thing I want to establish in the coming year.
And that sounds great, and it'll definitely connect people because it's just getting people to start sharing their experiences, not only to unburden that weight of the little bit, but it encourages them. It's like a groundswell thing. It encourages other people to open up and share theirs, and that's exactly why we do the Chronic Pain Club and have the Twitch channel. Try and encourage people to share those stories. And I think with your experience, Gerard, you've got such a strong, shocking starting point there because any conversation you can open with how you were diagnosed and being told you've got this to the grave, not telling you about how you could manage it or quality of life or treatments that are available, just telling you you've got this thing to the grave. If that doesn't get people to sit up and listen as a starting point to what you're doing now, I don't know what would.
Sir, these are the things I don't want to I don't want that every psoriasis patient hears these things that you will carry this till your grave. I want I want the medical practitioner to be well aware of the fact that it is curable. You should be encouraging the patient. It is he or she is already facing the disease, and now you are telling them that you will carry it to your grave. I know what the hell is that.
Yeah,
You should be. You are a medical practitioner. There are two professions in our world which requires which comes with a heavy responsibility. One is the doctor, one is the lawyer. If you don't know the medical laws, your patient will die. If you don't know the medical, oh sorry, if you don't know the actual laws, if you do not know the constitution, your client will suffer. These are the two professions in which you should be well aware of what are you doing. What your opinion can impact on other sides mentality or other sides physical or mental condition. So these things I want that the medical mental health specialists and dermatologists, researchers, and the patients should be discussing this in a friendly area, friendly environment.
yeah.
So this
And
is my
and you're the second person in a month that we've interviewed that's got a link or that's either in the law world or studying to be in the field of law. Do you have any plans to sort of? I'm assuming the two must link and go hand in hand, but do you have any plans to use your sort of future career to sort of aid your advocacy, or is what does that look like once you're fully qualified and everything?
uh, I am fully qualified. I
Oh,
am
sorry, my
recently.
apologies. I
No,
thought you
no
said at
worries,
the
no
start
worries.
you were in training. My apologies.
So I am recently enrolled around some couple of months ago with our bar council. So I have a license. Now I am a licensed practitioner, law practitioner here. And Joel, the other thing I want to tell you, there is a European project ongoing in Pakistan, which which in order to make our parliaments stronger, is recruiting young parliamentarian associates. And I am very excited to tell you that I am selected for that. So
Oh, that's amazing, Gerard.
I will be associating the legislators in legislation for a year. So that my very first priority is to work on psoriasis awareness and psoriasis advocacy. I want my government, I want my state to establish some awareness programs and healthcare systems for especially for treating psoriasis patients.
What a brilliant piece of news to bring us. I'm made up for you because I know like we've had lots of conversations over the past year and everything, and there's been times when we haven't been able to get in the room at the same time and that. But to have that real, you know, in the right space, seat at the table kind of thing, if you understand that expression, where you can influence decision making from the inside, that's just phenomenal. So yeah, I hope you celebrated that.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, we'll have to get you back a year from now or something, and you'll have to let us know what progress you're able to make in that position.
Most probably next year when we meet in next our next session, next forum meeting, I will come up with very many great things.
Yeah.
Hopefully, inshallah.
Yeah, so you planning to go to Singapore for the next IFBA forum?
Yes, you are not.
Yes, yeah, no, I am definitely. But yeah, I know you couldn't
That's good.
make the last one, so yeah, hopefully
Oh,
you can finally.
my bad. It was my bad.
Oh no, that was
Next year.
it hasn't been an easy year or two to travel. The amount of things I was supposed to be going to that then I couldn't even get visas for, or the UK weren't allowed in because of COVID. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to pick up there, and then maybe I don't know. I'll bring a microphone with me, and you can tell us all about what you achieved in the year since.
Yes.
Brilliant. So I'm very conscious that when we started this call, it was already gone midnight where you are. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Um, if there was anything, I ask this one a lot, so and I expect you've answered it a lot as well over the years. If there was sort of something you could tell somebody who was newly diagnosed, oh, what's happened there? I lost my. There we go. You're back. Um, if there was something you could tell somebody who was newly diagnosed with psoriasis, a piece of information or advice, what would that be?
So first of all, I will hug the guy and say him that there is there is nothing big. It is not a big thing. Take it easy and just treat yourself that you know that this is a simple and this is a simple a red spot on your beautiful skin and you can beautifully adopt it. This is not a big thing, but things you should take care of, that you shouldn't be stressed out much. You should have a proper routine. If you are getting a quite a lot layer time, quite a lot free time, then it might get severe. And if you are taking a lot of workload, then it might get severe. Please have a balanced life, have a balanced diet, and use moisturizer. Don't worry, you can fight it strongly.
I think they'd be very lucky if they met you and had that conversation as soon as they got diagnosed, because it'd certainly set them up for the future in good stead. So thank you ever so much for sharing your experiences with us tonight, Gerard, and being so open and honest and amazing. Thank you for sharing. We're very privileged to hear your good news for the future and the year ahead as well. Keep doing what you're doing. Could you just maybe let our audience know where they can find you, if there's anywhere on social media or any sort of website or anything you want to direct people to?
Sir, I am available on Instagram as can I write my username in Messenger chat?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and for anyone listening to this back and anyone watching this live, guys, I will put Gerard's handle in the show notes for the podcast, YouTube video, etc. So yeah, it's Gerard underscore Ali, yeah. But I think it's
Yes.
spelled ALEE. Is that correct?
GG, sir. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Superb. So thank you ever so much for joining us, Gerard. It's been an absolute pleasure. I will let you go and get some sleep now. We finally got on the call at the same time together, so good things come to those who wait and everything. And yeah, on behalf of the community, I've seen from the chat everybody's really enjoyed it. So thank you ever so much for joining us and sharing your experiences with us.
That's great. I'm very thankful to you for arranging such a fruitful session. And my apologies for not getting in touch with you in the last time as I was traveling. I already told you.
Yeah,
And
life happens, and we don't have apologies on this channel. With chronic illness, we can't be reliable all the time, so you don't have to apologize at all. But it's not a problem.
that that's very appreciable. Very nice of you.
All right, go get some rest, Jara. Have a good evening. See you later.
Thank
Bye
thank you,
bye.
boss. Thank you, boss. Bye bye.